Okay, sure. Take the tray in, and no talking to the prisoner.
Yes, Miss Ferguson?
Just a minute, Miss Ferguson. Mrs. Powell's decided it might help Parker to see Donovan, so we've been instructed to give her the meal.
Pampering prisoners in solitary now, are
I
they?
don't think so.
Give her the tray.
Benefit.
Say hello from me.
That's enough, sure. Get back to work. Maybe we should put you in the next cell, Parker. You can tap out messages all day.
Please, someone, please.
Evening, Donovan.
Please, I need a doctor.
Oh, the doctor's gone, Donovan. Hours ago. Permanently. Goodness me, don't tell me someone spiked your food.
Please.
You really should be more careful what you eat. Remember that next time.
All right, then, who touched Jamil? Sure? Parker? Friends of
It
yours, are
wasn't
they?
one of the women.
Then?
Miss Ferguson.
It's a very serious charge, Donovan.
I know that.
Of course I'm denying it. It's ridiculous.
Why didn't you get help for Donovan when she was ill?
Because I didn't know about it.
She said she called and you came in.
Another lie. Look, we've treated those women with kid gloves since that Bridges affair. And what's happened? The keys, the assault, and now this. We should have tightened security, not slackened it.
The department doesn't agree.
Maybe the department doesn't know what's going on. Now, I resent being accused of poisoning. Am I being charged?
No, not at the moment, Miss Ferguson.
Thank you, Governor. What have you got in there?
Just some crappy old sheets. We just come back from maternity.
Really?
Yeah, and dirty nappies. I wouldn't want to touch them myself.
You get used to handling filth around here. I thought you said you drowned that mouse, Mitchell.
I did. Must be another one.
Get rid of it.
Oh, no, Miss Ferguson, please. He's a real nice little
You
fellow,
heard
doesn't
me,
he?
Parker. Get rid of it now. So I'd eat it all up if I were you.
Well, we're not taking any chances. This food could be poisoned, like Minnie's.
Didn't do Donovan any good to say that, Bryant, and won't do you any good either. Lies never do. Not bad. Still, if you want to starve yourselves, go ahead. Give them a few more minutes. And if they're still not hungry, take them to the rec room.
Okay. Well, we've been over everything thoroughly, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Have you got anything else to say, Donovan?
It's all in my statement. I took the keys, but I didn't assault anyone.
My word against yours, Donovan.
I find you guilty as charged
But I
and
told you.
sentence you to an extra 7 days
That's
imprisonment.
ridiculous.
I don't understand, Mrs. Powell. How can I get an extra 7 days? I haven't even been to trial yet.
It's up to the judge when you go to court. The 7 days can be added to your sentence if you're found guilty.
Or he can make them concurrent. God, this is nothing but a farce.
Yeah, and you tell her about Min, Jude. You tell her about Miss Ferguson poisoning Min.
Yeah, okay. We got a screw here trying to poison us. Her name is Joan Ferguson.
Oh, jeez, here they come, Jude.
It's all right.
Judy? Cass? And then you come no closer!
We can't go back inside there. We've got no protection from the screws.
Don't come any closer! I don't want to hurt no one, but they gotta know what she done to me!
It's all right, Cass. We can't do anything else up here. The papers will look after it, won't you?
Come on, Brian. You can come
That's
down
her!
now.
That's her!
Come on,
Joan
Brian.
Ferguson! We're never safe
Come
from the screw
inside.
like that!
Come on.
Come on, let's get out of here before that riffraff causes any more trouble. Governor, it is time for some proper discipline. Bryant actually accused me of poisoning Donovan in front of those reporters.
They may not have heard, Miss Ferguson.
Oh, they heard all right. I want to know what you're going to do about it.
Bryant will be punished.
Along with Parker, I hope, and the others. They were all in on it, right?
Yes, all right. Thanks, ladies. The women will lose buy-up and visiting privileges for a week.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, come on, that's no punishment at all.
With respect, Mrs. Powell, it does seem a bit light.
There's an important visitor coming to Wentworth this afternoon, and I want to make sure he gets a real Wentworth welcome. I'm sorry Mrs. Powell wasn't here to meet you, sir. She wasn't expecting you quite so soon.
Where is she?
Called away, sir. Personal matter, I believe. Shouldn't be too long. Would you care for some coffee while you're waiting?
No, thank you. Miss Ferguson, just what is going on in this place? I've had the press on my back all day. The governor's missing. The place is in chaos.
Well, the governor should speak to you, sir. I don't think she'd like me to interfere.
Rubbish. The press claim that an officer has talked to them, given them the facts of the case.
Surely not.
Well, they seem to know all about it. And what's this about women up on the roof, holding up banners? Is that any way to run a prison? I'm horrified, Miss Ferguson. I am horrified.
Yes, sir, that was an unfortunate incident.
Unfortunate? The security in this place is abysmal. And you talk of unfortunate.
Perhaps Mrs. Powell misunderstood the departmental directive.
What do you mean?
Or maybe she thought we were to give concessions, relax things a little.
Not in matters of discipline.
Oh, no, sir, I couldn't agree more. In fact, there are many areas here where the prisoners are treated with far too much leniency. In fact, I've made out a report. It includes this morning's happenings and several other problems as I see them. Perhaps you'd like to read it.
Thank you, Miss Ferguson. I would.
Please, Mr. Harnsworth, I do intend to submit a written report on everything that's happened within the last couple of days.
Good. I shall look forward to reading that.
Excuse me. I thought you should see this.
Well, of course I didn't speak to the press. Well, not the way it says there.
You must have said something.
I answered a question. The rest of it they made up. Well, you know what they're like.
I gave strict instructions. Officers were to have no communication with them at all.
Well, it's very difficult when they're crawling all over your car.
Obviously, for you it is.
That's hardly fair.
The department can't afford to have any officer, especially one in an important position, disobeying orders like that. I'm afraid I must demote you, Mrs. Morris.
I don't think that's necessary.
You and I seem to disagree on what is necessary, Mrs. Powell. Miss Ferguson will take over as acting deputy governor.
Thank you, sir. If you don't mind, I'd like to return to my duties.
What was that funny noise?
You, get away from the door. Hello, Mason. In you go.
What is it? What's wrong with Cass?
Right, Mason, you can spend the night in Stephen's cell.
What the hell's going on
I'm going to move on. Shut up, Brian! Move on. Right. Parker's just gone completely berserk after that circus in the rec room.
God, that's all we need. How bad?
Oh, she's going to have a go at anyone who tries to get into her cell.
Right. Colleen Powell, get Sister Kelly down to H Block, Parker's cell. Tell her to bring a tranquilizer shot.
Excuse me, Mrs.
Just
Powell.
a minute.
It may not be a bad idea to get Donovan. She knows how to cope with Parker.
Yeah, right. Have Donovan brought to her. She's well enough, okay? Right.
What about a couple of extra officers?
Oh, I've already phoned B Block. They're going to send over a couple of male officers.
You what? On whose authority?
My own, of course.
May I remind you, I am the governor, Miss Ferguson, and I give the orders. Therefore, on your own authority, you can ring through and cancel those guards. Clear?
Clear. Governor.
Haven't been sleeping too good.
We can move her now.
Okay, Parker, on your feet.
No need to rush her, Miss Ferguson.
She's disrupted this block long enough. Come on.
I think you get a lot further if you handle her gently, Miss Ferguson.
I think I can be the best judge of that, sister. I might suggest that you take Donovan back to the hospital. Wouldn't want her to have a relapse, would we? Right. Oh, and Donovan, don't worry. I'm perfectly capable of looking after your mate. Get a move on, Parker.
Bad
That ought to
dreams.
do it. Okay. Well, you go, I'll look up.
Right. Oh, soup.
Parker. Look at me, Parker. You don't like being locked up, do you?
Oh.
We had to lock you up, Parker. Because you're mad.
No, I'm not mad. Someone killed my Snoop.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that sad? Now you haven't got a friend in the world.
No, it's not true. Got mean.
Donovan, she's not your friend. Hey, who do you think put you in here? Who do you think had you tied down in this bed? It was Donovan.
No.
Yeah, she sold you out.
Not true.
Yeah, it's true, all right, Parker. Let's face it. You've got no one.
Well, the women have it in for you, don't they, over the poisoning business? Nervous about the tests?
What tests?
Apparently Powell's organised them because of Donovan's accusations. I thought you knew about it.
No, I didn't. But I'll handle it.
Good. I hate anything that gets in the way of business.
Oh, Colleen, better have a look at this before you go.
What is it?
The results of the tests on Donovan.
Miss Ferguson, I want to see you first thing in the morning.
Yes, Governor?
We might just have her this time.
I didn't see you. Look, please, don't move. Try not to move. You'll have... Come on, please. Stay there. I'll get help.
You'd never let the stupid bitches run the road.
Listen, wait a minute. I'll give you my name and address. Just a minute.
Hell, I reckon he's dead. Better get an ambulance, quick.
It won't make much difference. Too late for that.
I heard a squeal of brakes. I wonder if it was a hit and run.
Oh, yeah, some lady came hurtling down
Good,
the
at
street.
least we've got something for the police.
Oh, sorry, mate, I'm not hanging around to talk to the cops.
Hey, you've got to stay. You're a witness.
Oh, sorry, bud, I didn't see a thing.
Bloody hell. Hey, lady, call the police. There's been a bit of an accident here.
Yeah, be a pleasure. Breakfast over without a hitch?
Yes.
Say the reporters have gone?
Yes, well, that's something.
Mrs. Powell in yet?
She is.
Oh, good. You mentioned you wanted to see me this morning.
That's right. Wait in my office, will you?
Sure.
Well, she doesn't look too worried.
She will be when I show her Donovan's medical report.
Oh, what did it say?
Oh, she was poisoned, all right. Valium acetate, and a heavier dose would have killed her.
God, what's happening to this place?
Sorry to keep you waiting, Miss Ferguson. I was called to the hospital.
Yeah. Heard about Stevens. Bad business. Minister won't like it.
Right. If I could drag you away from your paper, please?
Oh. See, there was a hit and run just down the road from the prison yesterday. Some old drunk copped it.
What?
Yeah, see? The victim's dead. Police are calling for witnesses.
God, couldn't be.
Couldn't be what, Mrs. Powell? Couldn't be the same man you knocked down yesterday? Afraid it is. You see, I'm your witness. I saw you kill that old man. Now, just what did you want to see me about, Governor?
He was all right. God, I wouldn't have driven off if I thought he was hurt.
Oh, I doubt the police would believe that, considering he's dead.
Oh, you saw it. You saw the whole thing. I would have taken him to hospital. It's just I couldn't get near him. He kept on abusing me. Oh, you would have seen me stop and try and reason with him.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Powell, but I didn't see that. I suppose I should go to the police, though. It is my duty as a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, well, I know what you're trying to do.
But then it could ruin your career. So I asked myself, is it worth it? Some things are best forgotten. This report on Donovan, that is what you wanted to see me about, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, she's fully recovered now. And like I said, some things are best forgotten. By the way, I've decided against phoning the police about your problem. Well, we're always talking officer solidarity around here. Thought it might be a good time to put into practice, wouldn't you think?
We all make our own decisions on that score, Miss Ferguson.
Oh, Colleen, the police are in reception. They're asking for you.
For me? My God. She must have found them.
Yes, all right, I'll tell her first thing in the morning. Thank you. Oh, off today.
Yep.
Oh, half your luck. What are the police doing here? They didn't even ask to speak to the governor, just wanted to see Mrs. Powell.
There now. Maybe I better stick around for a while just in case I'm needed. Sorry, Inspector, there's nothing more I can tell you.
You didn't see Mrs. Powell at all?
No.
Well, then why would Mrs. Powell call on you to corroborate her account of the accident?
Well, she must have misunderstood me. I didn't see the accident at all. When I arrived at the scene, the man was already dead.
Well, why didn't you stay and talk to the police?
Oh, I didn't think it was necessary. There was a man there already with the body when I arrived, and there didn't seem to be any more that I could do to help.
Yeah. Right. Well then, Mrs. Powell, we'll have to ask you to accompany us to the station. We'll need a formal statement.
All right. Sorry I wasted your time, Miss Ferguson.
That's all right, Mrs. Powell. Just wish I could have been of more help.
What really happened is quite obvious, and I can think of no good reason why an officer of Miss Ferguson's caliber should suffer these allegations. I'll do nothing about the position of acting deputy governor at this stage. The new department head can make that decision.
You sent for me, sir?
Yes, Miss Ferguson. We have a staff problem. Would you be prepared to accept the position of acting governor?
Well, if you believe it's within my capabilities, Minister, I can hardly refuse. Rostered you for a double shift, Mrs. Morris. We're somewhat short-staffed since Mrs. Powell was suspended.
She wasn't suspended. She's on leave of absence.
I remind you, Mrs. Morris, you are no longer acting deputy. You're merely another officer. And you will show the same respect as the rest of the staff.
Look, if we're so pressed for staff, why don't you take the rounds on your own?
It's time you read the regulations, Mrs. Morris. The governor must be accompanied by an officer at all times. Now, let's not hold up the working day any longer, shall we? It is usual to come to attention when the governor enters a room.
Oh, when do we break out the champagne?
I'll ignore that slip this time, Smart. But any other prisoner who sees fit to criticise the department's decision will find herself on a charge. Clear? I said clear?
Yes, Mr. Ferguson.
Good. Now, just so you don't forget that you're under new management, I'll be introducing some new rulings. Starting with tighter security measures. There will be no more wandering around the prison unescorted as of this minute. Glad to see you taking it so well. Get back to work. Oh, Parker. I've arranged for you to have some psychiatric assessment later this week.
What does that mean? What sort of treatment is that?
The treatment comes later, Parker. This is merely to decide which mental institution would prove most suited to you.
Not much chance of hiding the crown jewels in here, Pixie.
I wish I could. Haven't got much jewellery at all.
Oh, has Mason had a body search yet, Miss Riley?
No. I'd say she's clean, Miss Ferguson.
You've used the correct title, Miss Riley.
Yes, Governor.
Right. Complete body search. Now.
Oh, no. Well, I do have a few things, but I didn't think they'd be counted. I mean, it's nothing much, is it?
You know the rules, Mason. You've broken them. You will now be charged. You'll also lose your work release. 24 hours in solitary, Miss Riley. Give her something to think about.
Is it true? She's the governor now?
Acting governor.
Thank God. I thought you'd gone home and I'd have to call you.
Well, what's the problem?
H Block won't go back to their cells.
What do you mean, won't? Where are they?
In the recreation room. I've locked them in.
Well, you did the right thing. If that's where they want to stay, let them.
All night?
Why not? Oh, there'll be a few stiff backs in the morning, but they can't come to any harm. Who's on duty?
Helen O'Shea, Gail Brown and myself.
Right. Have someone outside the door all night. There'll be no need for a cell patrol. And, that recreation door is not to be unlocked for any reason. Understand?
Yes, but...
Look, I'll be along shortly to have a little word to our night owls.
Imagination, or is it getting like a sauna in here?
Oh, it is getting very warm.
Yeah, I bet some clock's turned up for heating.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
You're damn right I'm thinking what you're thinking.
Oh, Miss Ferguson, the heating system must be on the blink. It's like an oven in the rec room.
Yes, I was just passing the library. I noticed how hot it was. I went to check it in the boiler room and my key broke off in the lock.
Oh, dear. Do you want me to call a locksmith?
Good heavens, no. Cost a fortune at this time of night. Could just as easily be fixed in the morning.
But what about the women?
Well, they'll just have to move somewhere cooler, won't they, Mrs. Radcliffe? Like their cells. Sorry to interrupt your little soiree, ladies. But as you may have noticed, we have a malfunction in the boiler.
Surprise, surprise.
And since we have no control over the heat, and it's going to get hotter than a Turkish bath in here, I would suggest you return to the cool comfort of your cells.
No way. We like it in here.
Yeah.
The heat's good for our pores, opens them up. With your face, you should try it.
Very good, Bryant. What about the rest of you? How do you feel?
Look, Miss Ferguson, I would like...
I see. Pleasant dreams, ladies.
Joan,
Governor.
All right. Governor, you've already taken away all their privileges, and now you want to impose more restrictions.
It's called discipline, Mrs. Morris. That's why I wanted to speak to you all before you went on duty. This institution has been a laughingstock for the media for too long. That is all going to stop.
But if the women were treated properly...
They were given every opportunity to return to their cells, and they refused.
Why wasn't a locksmith called?
Are you questioning my judgment, Mr. Manning?
I'm asking why a locksmith wasn't called.
I have arranged for a locksmith to come after breakfast. Now, have you all read the new instructions?
Yes.
Good. Let's get back to work, shall we? The women may now go to breakfast, but they have to learn that I will be obeyed. I hope I make myself clear.
Perfectly.
Here comes Screws.
Here we go, girls. Morning, ladies. I trust you had a pleasant night. Breakfast is now served. Sorry we don't have room service. You'll have to go and get it.
Oh, we're quite happy here. Good company, great conversation.
Wouldn't mind speaking to the minister, though.
We are not coming back. Not until we get a fair deal.
You're not calling the shots now, Brian. Now, you all move out of here immediately, or I get the fire hoses, and I've done it before. Remember, young? Okay. Mr. Manning?
Yes, Governor.
Get the hoses.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting drowned for anyone.
Neither am I.
Now what?
Now listen, Miss Ferguson.
Just keep moving, Stevens. Brian. Give up. You can't win.
Miss Ferguson, I'm just warming up.
Screw this for a lark.
That's enough, Keen.
Come off it. This isn't bloody boarding school. If I want to sit down, that's my business.
Stand up. At once. Keen, you are now on a charge. Extra work duties. Disobey me again and you'll find yourself in the pound. All right? Sit.
Just want to make sure that you got the message that your father called. I left it on your desk.
Yes, thank you. I've already called him back.
I must say the Major sounded very well. It'll be a pleasure to see him again.
Was there something else, Mrs. Morris?
No, Miss Ferguson.
Yes. Take it back, please, Mrs. Morris.
Interesting case.
Yes. Well, you can see why I'm so worried.
Yes, well, she's certainly disturbed, but she may calm down in time.
Well, there's her past record of violence to consider.
Yeah, she's certainly walking a very thin line.
I only want what's best for her, Doctor.
Well, look, if you think it's in Parker's interest not to be kept in Wentworth, I'm prepared to make a recommendation that she be given treatment at a psychiatric hospital.
Thank you, Doctor. I knew I could rely on you. No problems?
I'm afraid there will be. They are not going to accept porridge as a midday meal.
I think they will. Remember, they've had no breakfast. If they're hungry enough, they'll eat.
When do we act? After we've eaten. Give us time to throw them off their guard.
You mean we've got to eat this stuff? I thought you were my friend. Bryant. Not there. From now on, you sit alone. Over there.
Oh, what?
Quiet! I don't think there'll be any trouble, Mrs. Morris. I'll be in my office if you need me. Carry on.
All right, ladies, you may sit.
been following all the reports in the papers, and it seems that Wentworth's been on a pretty sticky wicket for a while.
Well, all that is going to change now that I'm Governor, Father. I do hope you'll let me show you over the prison. Now that I've managed to instill a bit of discipline, things are really running the way they should be.
I'd like that very much, Joan. Oh, the department must think very highly of you to promote you so quickly.
Well, I always remember what you used to tell me. It's how an officer operates under fire that makes or breaks him.
I say, this is rather good.
Oh, it's just standard prison fare, Father. We all eat the same around here.
Oh, Mrs. Morris, how nice to see you.
Miss Ferguson, we need your help. There's been a slight technical hitch in the dining room.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Morris, of course. I'll be right there. Father?
Oh, I understand, my dear. Perhaps we better postpone our tour for another day.
Fine. We've had a few technical problems lately. The laundry, the boiler room, the whole place needs an overhaul.
Duty first, dear. I'll see you back at the house.
Right. Mrs. Morris, would you mind calling a taxi for my father?
Of course.
Thank you. It's time we had a little talk, Bryant.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Ferguson. Actions speak louder than words.
There won't be much action with you in solitary, though, will there? Let's go.
Fine by me.
Let's get out of here and lock them in their cells. Right. How long are you going to keep this nonsense up?
Oh, for as long as it takes.
Oh, you think things are difficult now, Bryant? I can introduce measures that'll make them 10 times worse, and eventually the women will see your halo slip.
Okay, try us.
Oh, I'm prepared to concede that you can make things difficult. That's why I think we should put a stop to the whole thing right now.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm glad that you've decided to listen to our terms.
Oh, Bryant, I don't think you understand me. We're talking about my terms.
What is it?
It's a recommendation that Parker be placed in a mental institution permanently.
You bitch.
Not a nice, cushy psychiatric hospital, Bryant, but an insane asylum. And you and I both know her chances of ever getting out of there, don't
All
we?
right. What do you want?
Complete obedience from the women, and especially from you. When I say jump, you will jump. You will do what I say when I say it. And we won't say anything to the women about this little discussion, or the deal is off.
Well, you don't want very much, do you? I suppose you're going to rub my face in the dirt every chance you get.
That's your problem.
And how do I explain this about face to the women? They'll lose all respect for me.
Oh, you'll think of something.
Will Cass ever know what's in that report?
What report?
Well, I've got to have something. You got to give me some concession to get the women in line with.
All right, Bryant. You'll find that I'm a very reasonable person if approached properly. And, Bryant, you'd better get used to me. Because I'm going to be in this chair for a long time. Now, back to work. Oh, Bryant. That was very clumsy of you. Now you're going to have to clean it up.
Yes, Miss Ferguson.
And my shoe. All settled in, Parker? Must be nice to have your own room. No one to bother you. All you gotta do is try and forget all those terrible things that happened to you. You know, mice. Dead mice. And heads rolling across the floor. Pleasant dreams, Parker. Dad.
Hello, Joan. I thought I'd go for a walk and get a paper.
I'm sorry I'm late, but things got a bit hectic today.
Don't mention it. You've got a job to do. That's the important thing. Did you get everything fixed up at the laundry?
What? Oh, yeah, something like that.
Machine trouble, was it?
Not anymore. Listen, I thought you might like to come over and have a look over the place.
Oh, I'd love to. Rather looking forward to meeting that wonderful old character again. What was her name? Lizzie.
Well, she's not with us anymore. I arranged for her to go and live with her family.
Oh, good. I'm sorry to have missed her, though. She was a nice old stick.
I don't know what she put in that report of yours, but it must have been good.
What?
A bigwig from the department to see Joan. Fastest service I've ever seen, if that's what it's all about.
I hope so, because I promise you I am just in the mood.
Oh, Joan, there's
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, there's some... Governor, there's someone to see you in your office. From the department, I believe.
Good. Hope you didn't see you two chatting as if you had nothing to do. We'll never get any more staff. Sorry to keep you waiting, but Mrs. Davidson.
Miss Ferguson?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I was expecting someone from the department.
I am from the department. We had a rather disturbing report about your administration. I'm here to investigate. Thank you for the tour, Miss Ferguson. Now, I would like the use of your office. There are certain people I have to interview regarding the report, starting with Mrs. Morris.
Well, she's hardly unbiased, Mrs. Davidson, considering her demotion.
Miss Ferguson, official procedures make it necessary for me to interview Mrs. Morris. Please see to it immediately.
Are you there? Hello, who is this? Oh. Hello!
Father?
Oh, I'm sorry, Joan. I was expecting somebody else. You've certainly got some snoops down here. Damn cheeky, if you ask me.
Well, why? What happened?
Oh, it was probably some sort of survey. They wanted to know if we were related or not. Wouldn't give his name or his company. Manners certainly seem to have taken a back seat these days.
Oh, well, never mind. Look, I'm about to ring a taxi to bring you to Wentworth. You ready to leave?
Oh, yes, indeed. But forget about the taxi. I've already ordered one.
Oh, all right. I'll see you soon, then.
Good. I'm looking forward to it, too, Joan. Goodbye for now.
Bye. Oh, Mrs. Morris, I want full security measures implemented immediately.
Why, is there to be a drill?
No, just a routine exercise.
What routine exercise?
Mrs. Morris, my father is visiting this afternoon. I don't want him to see a sloppy display. Officers will now carry batons, and I want 2 armed guards to patrol the perimeter fence.
You can't be serious.
I never take these things lightly, Mrs. Morris. You should know that.
Miss Ferguson, under the circumstances, I don't think it'd be wise to incite the women further.
Under the circumstances, it wouldn't be wise to incite me further. Please see my instructions are carried out immediately.
Damn you.
I'm very pleased with the way the laundry's shaping up, Father. Their efficiency has improved quite a lot in the last week. Oh, Mrs. Davidson. I'd like you to meet my father, Major Ferguson. Mrs. Davidson is from the department.
I'm pleased to meet you, Major.
It's my pleasure, Mrs. Davidson.
I've been taking a look around the prison. There are some quite noticeable changes since I was last here.
Well, thank you. But I do think it a little unwise that you walk around the prison unescorted, Mrs. Davidson, especially in light of some of our latest arrivals. Now, we're about to go and inspect the laundry. Would you care to accompany us? It's almost time for exercise period. Would you organise the women, Mrs. Morris?
Come along, ladies. Exercise period.
Right. Everybody move out. I said move out. You'll all be on a charge if you don't move out now. Right. Mrs. Morris, I want Brian put in solitary and the rest charged with dumb insolence. Mrs. Morris, you are not paid to stand around...
Ferguson, I suggest you return to your office. I shall be there directly.
They had it planned. How dare they? They deliberately tried to undermine my authority in front of the department.
Don't take it personally, Joan. Insubordination is one of those things that people in high positions have to tolerate. It's part of the job.
I have tried to follow your example, but they refuse to learn.
Joan, there's an enormous difference between the army and a prison. A soldier is given a purpose to achieve something important. Prisoners have nothing to look forward to except maybe getting out someday. You come down too heavily on them, they're bound to resent it.
Would you mind leaving? I need time to think.
You don't have to prove anything to me, Joan. Everybody's allowed a few mistakes in life.